Oh no, Jake comes back. You can tell that's not him. That's it. The band! The band? The band!
The band!
The band? The band! Cover your sunglasses.
Oh, yeah.
So their ties are a little thinner too.
Hold on. Where is the... Here we are. Let's do it.
What dance did we do?
That one right there. Woo!
There you go, get down.
I love it when they're flipping up in the sky there. Look at that's my favorite part. Woo!
The band, Travis. The band.
Oh man.
And James Brown's just like drenched in sweat.
Gravy. Well, let's internalize what's going on. Pause. Susan. Oh. Let's get this over here. Boom. Boom goes the dynamite. All right. Let's do our scene, of course, with the border. And get the camera back on it.
Now you get the
Boom!
Now you have the right camera.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
We're the one,
Welcome.
the only, the real podcast.
The Extra
Brothers.
Real Podcast.
Brothers.
Today, if you haven't known by now, we're the Blues Brothers. First film is, without further ado, the original, The Blues Brothers.
Blues Brothers. Gotta fix the tie.
Oh, yeah. I'm not true to the tie, of course, but it's
Not
what-
true
I'm
to
doing what
tie,
I
not
got.
true to the hat. but
Doing with what I got.
Gotta deal with what you got. It's alright.
All right. So, like we've done all the other ones, we're going to watch the trailer. And I have the wrong one up. Spoiler alert, we're going to do 2 other movies.
That's alright. Technical difficulties.
Technically, it's not.
You better get right, pal. We got a show to do. Then we got to figure out some way to collect that gate money. Get it to the Cook County Assessor's office as soon as they open in the morning.
Joliet, Jake.
Frank.
All right, sorry about the audio issue.
2 men with a mission. And only 11 days.
And don't come back until you've redeemed yourselves.
Our Lady of Blessed Acceleration, don't fail me now.
For me and the Lord,
Because
you gotta understand it.
We're on a mission from God. Lots of space in this mall.
We'll raise $5,000 and let
Prior to
Dave well rip
Prior to
us.
Ghostbusters.
Dance to jailhouse rock. Dance to jailhouse rock.
Dan Aykroyd
I
brought
remain
over
celibate
to the
for you.
film.
He could.
Hit it.
My heart's calculating. My true love will be waiting.
My estimations are correct. We should be very close to the Honorable Richard J. Daley Plaza.
That's
where they got that Picasso. Yep.
You see two guys coming here, black suits, black hats, one carrying a briefcase?
Yeah. I just sent him down there.
Thank you.
John Belushi,
How much for your wife?
Dan Aykroyd.
After the gig,
What genre would
maybe
you
we
put this
could,
film
like, hang out together.
James Brown.
I heard the sound in my car.
Cab Calloway,
Yeah, I'd say music kind of.
Ray Charles,
You know, the appreciation.
Driving in the car, they're kind of moving.
Carrie
around.
Fisher.
They're playing jazz music.
I must now kill you.
Not the whole time, but I noticed that throughout the film. They're
Aretha
playing
Franklin,
You're living with me now, and you're not gonna go sliding around with your old white roofing friends.
Henry Gibson,
He better pray the police get to him before we do.
and the Blues Brothers Band.
Let's go, boys.
The Blues Brothers.
Are you the police?
No, ma'am. We're musicians.
And he's like, I'll go talk to him. And so then Jay just plays it off as they're the good old boys. And so then they start singing their regular music, and everybody's like, boo, get off the stage, throwing bottles and stuff at him. And then they're like, well, what do we do? And then they're like, let's start playing like Western music. So the first song they play is a theme song from Rawhide, which was a TV show back in the day.
Let me pull up some of the stats here. 1980. So a little oldie. Before I was born, before you were born. Yeah. It shows in the film. It definitely shows its age. I noticed when I was watching it. It was an older film. Curious on the money side of things. I just saw it. 115 mil back in 1980, adjusted for inflation. I'd say that's pretty good. Just
well, and these guys were just SNL too. So
yeah. So they had a lot of popularity with SNL.
Well, and Blues Brothers was from SNL, so that kind of helped too. So people know those characters pretty well from SNL.
Wish I could have the budget.
It might be on Rotten Tomatoes, maybe.
Yeah, so the big plot in the film is they need to get money to pay for the orphanage property tax bill.
Or
so
the orphanage will close down.
Or the orphanage will close down.
Yep.
That's the story, and we're sticking to it.
First, so Jake gets out of jail, and then Elmo's like, "You gotta go see the penguin," and so they do, and then Jake's like, "I don't want to go," and he's like, "You can't lie to a nut."
Yeah.
So
One of my favorite parts of the film, they're cursing back and forth, and every time they curse, she's hitting them with the stick.
Oh, Jesus H.
Oh, Jesus H. Christ. Oh, oh, come on. No. Oh. Great part of the film. I like that. Along the way, they are targeted by a homicidal mystery woman.
Which is Jake's ex.
Yeah. neo-Nazis, the Illinois neo-Nazis.
Yeah.
That was kind of an interesting part.
That was one of my favorite parts when they're chasing after him, and it's just so cheesy because they're sitting there chasing this whole entire time, and then they get off a ramp that's closed off. It says road closed, and freaking it's just freaking cheesy as crap. The Bluesmobile car gets flipped backwards somehow, and the Illinois Nazis are like, "What just happened?" And then they fly off the bridge, and you wouldn't think it's that far, but they fall from like there's buildings that you can see, and this car's like higher than the buildings.
Yeah.
It doesn't even make sense. And then,
all those little scenes, like especially being an older film, they put. I wish I had the budget up here.
I'm sure I'll say.
What do you think? 20 million? I don't know. There's so many cars that get destroyed in this film. All the makeshift property damage. That's probably all fake and stuff. Them smashing through walls and stuff.
The cars.
But the cars alone, especially the older
Police
Oldsmobile cars.
Well, I think what happened is these cars were just probably getting out of their service date.
Their lifespan was up, and they're like, let's throw them in the film. Probably, maybe. Who knows?
Hopefully, they didn't wreck a whole bunch of cars for no reason.
We were gonna start with that line from the Blues Brothers. I'm gonna let you take it off. Let's just start from the top.
Oh, you want to do it right now?
Yeah, let's do it.
There's 180 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, a half pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses.
Hit it.
That's one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, that's a good part.
That's why I remember it so well.
What? Obviously, you're a Dan Aykroyd fan. I would say that's that what brought you to this film to want to watch it.
I don't know exactly what really got me really into Dan Aykroyd. I just remember watching him like in the Coneheads, and then my mom was pretty hardcore at Blues Brothers, and I was like, all right, I'll watch it.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
And then I was like, oh, this is a really good movie. So I mean, I've always been a Dan Aykroyd fan ever since.
I never watched this film until yesterday.
And you still haven't watched the whole thing?
I still watched the whole thing. I made it a good ways through. Technical difficulties aside, I did get a good grasp of the film. I like the film where they're in the mall destroying everything. The cop car flips upside down, and they got a scene where the cops are inside the car like, dang it.
Well, my favorite part is when they first get into the mall parking lot, and then, like, Jake looks at Elwood, and he's like, Elwood, because he knows exactly what he's to do, and he busts through the wall, and then the cops are chasing him down, and then they're, like, pointing out the stores and stuff, and then Elwood goes, Jake, look at, or he doesn't really say Jake, but he's just like, look at all these stores, and then Jake goes, yeah, this mall has everything.
I do remember that part.
The glass and stuff.
I like that too. That was good. I have to give you the floor because I don't really know much about this film. I've watched enough to give my assessment, but I want you to sell it to me. What are some good parts?
So the penguin part, of course.
Yep.
Then you got the mall scene.
Yeah.
You got Bob's County I don't remember, it was Country. I think it was Country Bunker, where they're like sitting there booing him, and then they're like, "Oh, we gotta start singing some country songs." They're like, "We don't know any." So then they're like, "Rawhide" and a bunch of other like songs that. And then even towards the end, they're like, "Sorry, we couldn't remember all our original songs." It's like, who forgets their songs if they're really the good old boys? Like, And then, so then what happens towards that part is they're about to leave, and they're expecting to get paid for their services, and then
they're trying to get that money for that property tax.
Well, the funny thing is, so they were drinking beers.
Yep.
And they were thinking it was on the house.
No.
And it ends up not being on the house.
So they lose money.
Yeah, they end up owing the person, and then Jake's like, "Oh, I gotta get a traveler's check." And he goes back into the car. He's like, "Oh, the pen's in the car."
Yeah.
So he goes to sit, and he's like, "I need to use the glove box to write down the check." Gets in the car, and they just fucking book it. And then the good old boys show up, and then Bob's like, "Who are you folks supposed to? Who the hell are you guys supposed to be?" And they're like, "We're the good old boys." He's like, "You're the good old boys. These guys owe me money." And so they freaking start chasing the Blues Brothers down the field.
So it's just like one perpetual little joke after
And then
another.
you remember those two cops in the mall when they flip upside down?
Yep.
just after that scene, the good old boys are chasing after him. And then those two cops see the Blues Brothers like, oh, pew, pew. And they start chasing them after. And so that's one of my other favorite parts. And then also later on, when they go to the big event, they're trying to sell it. They put a big, huge microphone on top of the car. And they're like, one night only. Come to this. I forget what the place is called. And then they're like, this is the Fabulous Blues Brothers Band. And so they got a freaking huge, like, megaphone.
Yeah.
And so you see it in that one part with it's 180 miles to Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
That thing, that's the thing I'm talking about. And so, and then, that's one of my other favorite parts is the 180 miles to Chicago, of course.
Yeah, classic. That's a classic quote. I even just was, like, reading about it, and that's one of the first quotes that pops up.
And this whole entire time, Carrie Fisher's character is sitting there trying to blow him up because Jake broke her heart, basically. And I don't know exactly what happens, but he basically made it sound like he left her at the altar, didn't tell her where he was at, what happened, or anything. He's sitting in jail, so I mean, maybe he didn't know where at. Like, he made a bunch of excuses. But,
yeah.
And then I don't know. There's different parts that I felt like just made that movie.
The cast too makes this film as well. James Brown, Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles, Dan Aykroyd, obviously, and the main character John Belushi. Carrie Fisher, though, like, is that during Star Wars or before Star Wars?
So this is 1980. I think this would be just after.
So this would be let's see when Episode 4 came out.
Technically Episode 1. That's for another day. The original one. That's
1977. So she's in the mix of Star Wars during this film. I would say this is a pretty big budget film then, as far as like that would go. I mean, how do you pull her from her Star Wars franchise to do? Because Star Wars was larger than life at the time.
She was also with SNL a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I don't think she was a main character. I don't think. I honestly don't. I didn't watch SNL that much because it's back in the day.
Well, I wasn't alive back in 1977.
I know, but you know what I'm saying. I think she was a part of it, but not like a main character.
Yep.
By any means, on SNL, anyways. But yeah, I mean, you got Carrie Fisher, James Brown, B.B. King, I think is even in there. Ray Charles, Aretha Franklin. I mean, even some of the band members, Steve Guitar Murphy. Max. I mean, there's characters that I never heard of, but you know, they're pretty known musicians. And then
okay, we're about 20 minutes in. We had a lot there for you guys. I screwed up. I didn't set the episode 5 is now where we're on. So for those tuning in, we're not on episode 2. Sorry about that.
Can't you fix that later though?
Yeah, we'll fix it. We'll fix it in post-production. Let's go with the ratings. Episode 5. Ratings on The Blues Brothers. You want me to go first? I'll go first, then you go first the next set, and then I'll go first the third one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I feel like if I give you a score, then I'm going to affect your score.
Nope, yeah, exactly. So I have no skin in the game as far as bias on this film.
I feel like
I watched over half of it last night. Had to stop because it was getting too late.
From what you watched.
recap. Superbad was a 4.0. Ace Ventura, I gave a 4.5. A little bias in that. Crank, I gave it a 3.9. Let's go. Liar Liar, I said 4.3. Blues Brothers, my official out of 5 reels. I'm gonna give it a 4.2. That's my final. I enjoyed the comedy of it. The age, I think, is what brought it down for me. Just because I hate to give it that kind of hurt, you know, for enjoyability, but it lacks in enjoyability with just the age of it. I think if they would have made a Blues Brothers 1990s, maybe 2000s.
They did.
Yeah, they made the new one.
Blues Brothers
but
2000.
From what you've said, it's kind of
It's not.
It's
good.
kind of. I'm just saying, if they would have shot
This,
Blues Brothers, this one in 1990
2000s.
or 2000s, maybe it wouldn't even have had the same success. But that production, I think, just the older style for me, it's classic in that regard. It hurt my enjoyability of it in a way, if that makes sense. But I still enjoyed it. It was still fun to watch. I love the scene where in the church and they're all dancing and the people are flipping in the church there. Yeah, I mean it's a fun film. But enough with me. Let's get to what your ranking is of this. You're the Blues Brothers expert. Maybe a little bias involved because you've watched it.
Yeah, I feel like I might be a little bit more biased on this one. Dan Aykroyd is one of my favorite actors of all time.
Yep.
I get told I look like him all the time. My sibling, we would be playing Monopoly. I have Ghostbusters Monopoly, and Dan Aykroyd's one of the characters on there. My nieces and nephews are like, "Is that you?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, that's not me."
That's funny.
I get asked a lot of times if I'm in the Ghostbuster movie because I dress up as a Ghostbuster. It's like, no, I'm not part of the movie. So yes, I'm gonna be a little biased, I guess.
I'm gonna go through some of your previous ratings. You gave The Mask 4.8. Wolf of Wall Street 4.5. Superbad 3.5. Crank a 4. Ace Ventura was a 4.8 for you. What do you got?
I'm gonna probably give it one of those higher ratings. I'm gonna probably give it like 4.9.
4.9. Wow. I did kind of expect that actually.
Obviously, I'm more biased.
Yeah. To each their own. Should we wait till the end to go through some of that Rotten Tomatoes and see how our
we
shit
do like
stacks
that,
up?
like we did.
Okay, so we gave our ratings. We're gonna move on to the next film. I have
Goldeneye,
MIB or that other one. So the theme for this is obviously we're wearing suits. So we're going through movies that the main character wears suits. We'll do Men in Black. So we're gonna talk about the original Men in Black. I'm sticking with it. So we're gonna talk about the original Men in Black. I'm sticking with it. Yep. So we're gonna talk about the original Men in Black.
We work for a highly funded yet unofficial government agency.
We'll take it from here.
Who the hell are you? INS Division 6.
6.
For a highly funded yet unofficial government agency is to monitor extraterrestrial activity on Earth. Funded yet unofficial government agency is to monitor extraterrestrial activity on Earth. Funded yet unofficial government
In a new film from the director of The Addams Family and Get Shorty. Men in Black. protecting the Earth from the scum of the universe.
You know how to use these things?
No idea whatsoever.
There's
the end.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty much beginning to end. But they don't show
Wish your car's air freshener didn't start so strong and then fade too soon? Try Febreze car vent clips. Unlike other fresheners, Febreze releases a consistent amount of scent day after day for 40 days. Won't overwhelm, won't fade away. Febreze car. Love it or get your money back.
Okay, we're getting some free advertising here. There's another trailer.
Yeah, I was a
big fan of
what's his face? I forgot what his real name is.
Yeah, what is his name? Bob Odenkirk.
Is that his real name?
Yeah.
I would never guess.
I need to watch the last episodes of not Breaking Bad. Better Call Saul. Yeah. I'm on the last season.
Well, they just.
I wanted it to come out on Netflix so I can just
have
watch
they even did the new season?
Yeah, it's out.
Oh,
they did their rounds like a few months ago, so it's out and available. I just don't want to pay for it. I'm waiting for it to come out on Netflix if it does. And they've been on like a freaking 2 year behind schedule on that. So
yeah, I can see that.
Well, without further ado, let's talk Men in Black. Yeah. I have to say I like this film. I kind of gave it away during the trailer, but big fan of this film.
Hated this film.
You hated it?
No,
Oh,
I'm joking. I mean, you got Will Smith, you got Tommy Lee Curtis.
Yep. Tommy Jones.
Well, Tommy Jones. Is it Tom Jones?
Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Jones.
Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones. Yeah, I don't know where I thought of Curtis.
I best know Tommy Jones from Under Siege. Steven Skull. He plays the guy that takes over the ship. Kind of interesting. This one he plays the good guy, so it was a flip for me. I kind of like him as a good guy.
Yeah, I guess I've never really paid that close attention. I've always known him as kind of a good guy.
Yeah.
He always plays like those kind of suit characters to me.
Yeah.
Or military or something.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
mean, he's got that kind of look, like general or soldier. Or I think. Oh yeah, he was in Avengers. I think he was the like staff sergeant or whatever.
I think you're right. Some scenes that stuck out to me. I love the scene where they blow the pawn shop guy's heads off and then it grows back. That's kind of the scene for me. That's like, oh, okay, I could get behind this film.
One of my favorite scenes is towards the beginning when he's chasing that alien. He doesn't know it's an alien.
Yep.
And he gets him all the way to the roof, and he sees his eyes blink the
like
way,
a fish or a
and then
frog or something.
And then he realizes, oh shit, is this real? Like he doesn't
he's
know
an
it's an alien, or well, he doesn't really know. Like he's like, is this a monster? Is this an alien?
Yeah.
Like he's not 100% sure what he even just saw. You know.
I'd say this film is a good introduction to the franchise. It sets the stage for their next films. I think this is the best film out of all of them, though.
I really liked the third one. I really enjoyed more the third one.
Yeah.
Where so his Will Smith's character, spoiler alert, goes back in time.
Yeah.
And then he sees that interaction as a kid with Kay, as it's called.
Yep. The third one is kind of a classic too. It kind of puts.
I really didn't like the second one as much.
Yeah, I'd agree too. I still enjoyed it.
No,
it was
I
still a
still
good
enjoyed
film
it.
to watch. This one just had more suspenseful moments. There was more like.
And that's what I liked about the third one.
Moving
like,
on
had
to
just more
the different characters.
And that's
in
why
the
I liked
film.
the third one. It was more of a story to it, where the second one was just kind of pieced together.
I didn't like Bajoris or whatever the guy's name was in that film.
Oh, the bad guy?
Yeah, the bad guy.
Yeah, I don't know, like...
It was off-putting for me. I don't know, there's something about that character I just didn't like. It didn't... Like, he didn't seem like an alien. Like, at least the cockroach was an alien, and it added to the
Well, I mean, he's still
suspense.
an alien, but I know what you're saying.
But he's like more of a human than an alien.
It almost looked like a
If they had more of like a cockroach, and maybe their budget didn't call for it, I don't know. But it's a huge budget film.
Well, I mean, even if it's not a cockroach, do something more alien.
Yeah,
than that
absolutely,
guy.
absolutely.
And like you say, he's just didn't have that type of role. Like he didn't. I mean, he looked like a henchman more than a bad guy, which I mean, he kind of was, because that one girl was like the main villain, wasn't it? Or was that the third one?
Which one?
The third one. Is it the third?
Yep.
The van, she's got like stuff that comes out her hands.
I thought that was the
veins.
second one.
Is that?
I could have swore it was the second one
too. Yeah.
Like I know what you're talking about. She's killing everything with the little appendages that she has.
Yeah. Okay, that was the second.
I think that was the second one.
Wasn't she the main bad guy?
In the third one?
No, the second one.
Yeah, I think she was the main bad guy because she could like go off into that little ship. Remember, I think that's how she landed there.
Oh yeah.
I can't recall.
No, I think you're right because she was looking for something, and then I forget what it was. It was like they did like a video of it. Like they did a pretend video of it. Like this is actually what happened.
Yep.
But it was a fake actual.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, I do remember that part.
And she was a part of that, and then Kay ended up having it, and so then they had to bring Kay back from his retirement.
So that writing that way, obviously they didn't have the end in mind. I feel like they did a lot of like writing it around. Piecing it together, like you said. Like here's the original. Oh, we want to get some. Okay, this is a really good franchise. People really like this. Let's make 2. Let's make 3. It took them some time.
I didn't mind.
The second one seemed like it was more in line with the story. The third one went kind of off into left field a little bit, in my opinion.
I felt like the third one was better than the second one.
But the whole like writing Kay out of it, where he's like, oh, okay,
that was the second one.
Was it?
Yeah, the second one is when he retires, and he works as like a post office. That's the second one.
But then in the third one, or what's the most recent one?
The most recent one is with I forget her name. It's got Chris Hemsworth, and then I forget her name. She's from she's in Creed and Thor.
We're getting a little off topic off the first one, but this basis of the first one. This is a 1997 film by Columbia Pictures. Okay, I agree with like what my assessment would have been. Obviously, I'm seeing the numbers right in front of me. $90 million budget, so just a huge whopper of a film. And you could definitely tell a lot of CGI in that time, and it seems like it's pretty good for that time period too.
Yeah.
Like I remember the cockroach, and you got the scene where he's like, you don't see him at the beginning obviously, but he goes into the guy's skin. Who I come to realize later on in life, he's the same guy that plays Gomer Pyle in Full Metal Jacket.
And he's Kingpin in Daredevil.
Yep, and he's on a TV series.
Yeah, he's like a detective or a cop or
some kind
like
of detective. So I'm always like, I didn't picture it at first, but as soon as you
either.
see him, they did a good job of like disturbing his face into like that sugar.
I didn't know sugar
I need
water.
more sugar.
Sugar water.
Sugar water.
Well, first he asks for sugar water, and then he's like,
more.
Yeah,
more.
Okay. And then it ends up just pouring the whole freaking thing of sugar in there. I wonder how he really drank that. Like, how did
yeah, it's that much sugar.
Yeah, because he chugs the whole thing. Unless it was not really sugar or something, I don't know.
I remember having this film on VHS as a kid. It was a repeat of a movie. You always kind of stuck it in there. For me anyway.
I don't remember having this kid.
I do remember it, but vaguely. I mean, it came and went in like seasons.
I mean, this is when Will Smith is at his high points. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's probably like, oh well, because you watch some Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
There's definitely Will Smith films I like better than others. I consider this one probably more of his top film. Independence Day was a good one. He had a bunch of heavy hitters there. I liked iRobot. Wild Wild West was a bit of a meh for me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was still pretty good, but yeah it was kind of meh.
Yeah.
Especially towards like more in the middle and stuff. Like at the beginning, I felt like, oh, this is be a good Western movie, and then all of a sudden they kind of like went off the rails, and it's like, wait, what?
Yeah. I remember the Burger King toys they had in this film.
Yep,
I could care less of the actual film. that's where that film ends up.
Well, the one guy that was on that mechanical bike, I took him off.
Yeah. I do like the steampunk theme of it in a way.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they push some boundaries, but yeah, it was kind of weird.
Yeah, we're gonna
off topic, but it kind of compares to the budget of this film too. $90 million. I don't know what Wild Wild West was, but they could have used a lot more budget in that film, in my opinion. Like this one had really good CGI. All the scenes from that time period.
And they did have CGI in that one too, and it wasn't
good.
great.
Yeah, I think that probably took away from it. You know,
yeah.
I think
you
go all in or you just don't do it at all type of thing for that.
Well,
especially when the film like that needs a lot of either a lot of money to build the props or a lot of CGI to make it good.
Yeah, or a good quality.
Exactly.
Imaging or whatever.
But going back to this film,
keep getting off topic.
The plot is pretty cool. I mean, they enlist the Men in Black to get this guy who's after their Ryan's belt, who's trying to like take over the universe or whatever. So there's a lot at stake in this film. They have to keep this cockroach from getting away with this item that's deemed.
Well, it's just weird to me because like Kay seemed like he didn't like Jay.
Yeah.
But then
they put him as partners.
First they had to take a test.
Yep.
And everybody's like in the military, some sort of branch of the military, and he's the only one that's just like a street cop.
Yep.
He even dresses up like everybody's in a freaking suit, and he's just wearing regular plain clothes.
Yeah.
And he's the only one that figured out, hey, I should bring this table up so I can write on it. No one else.
I like that scene.
Idea.
My favorite of that training session was when he has to explain himself, but he shoots the girl with the textbook, and everybody else is popping off on all these aliens around the screen, and they're like, they're not all that bad. See, she's got some kind of vendetta with that stuff she's reading. I don't know.
Well, it's because it had chemicals and chemistry.
She's the bad guy here. You know, it was a good part of the scene, kind of justifying being a part of the Men in Black because not every alien is a bad guy. You know, it's like
because one of the aliens was just in like carrying groceries or something, and then. Yeah, the little girl's got textbooks of like.
All these guys are just minding their business, and you guys are all shooting them on. That was a good scene. I like that.
I did like his reason. At first, you're like, why would he kill a little girl? But then when he actually explained it, it's like, oh, okay. Well, actually does make a little bit more sense.
I like how they portray Orion's belt as that little keychain on the cat, because that cat kind of comes up every once in a while, and.
Well, the funny thing is the cat's name was Orion too,
and it's Orion's collar or whatever. Yeah. And he keeps on showing up throughout the film too. Like it's the item that you're looking for is so close but so far away.
Yeah, you don't realize
they do a good job of portraying that in the film. Obviously, if you do a second watch through, it kind of takes away. Like, oh, there it is. There it is.
Just like in Ghostbusters, you can
spot all the points that.
Well, yeah, it's just like Ghostbusters. You watch, there's like little glimpses of like who's the main bad guy.
Yeah.
Which is kind of.
It's like the old
cat thing.
It's the Scooby-Doo trick of like, oh, I gotta figure out which one it is. It's always the first guy they run into, type of thing. I don't know. It's kind of cool.
I don't remember when they actually run into. They don't really run into the cat until the funeral scene. I don't think.
I'm gonna check the time here quick.
I'm trying to remember. I don't remember when they meet the cat. I know it was when the guy died. Did they talk to that? Because they talked to that guy before he died, right? The guy that was
the guy in the alien in the head. They pull. Yep, he dies right as they're talking to him. And then the cat was there, I think, during that scene too.
Yeah, he was sitting there petting him. I just couldn't remember. That wasn't really at the beginning though. That was like kind of towards. I want to say it was like almost a quarter way in, ish.
Sorry, I'm gonna.
Technical difficulties.
Stats. They grossed a shit ton of money though. I think it was. It was well above the 90 mil that they put into it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they made money on that.
Okay, I gotta get this. This
is
bugging me.
You saw the trailer. I mean, just seeing that trailer, you would want to go see it.
Sorry, just wanted to see what we are for time. All right, so we're about 40 minutes.
20 mark. Yeah.
If there were some other takeaways, I think we said most of the takeaways that I personally liked in the film. I like those stick characters.
Yeah, I forget their names.
Yeah,
I think they're chilling. Or something.
Yeah, I don't remember their names. Skoomba or something.
They talk weird.
They talk kind of Jamaican or something.
Yeah, it's like I wouldn't say Jamaican, but it's got like that tone.
It's got some kind of twang to it. I can't describe it. Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
They're laid back. Yeah, I like that.
Kind of reminds me of Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, exactly. There's some good characters. A lot of good characters in this film.
I thought it was kind of funny. There's one scene where Kay and Jay go into a house, and there's a family sitting on the couch, and they bust in. And they're like, "What the fuck are these guys doing?" And they open the back wall, and that's where all those guns are. And then it was like, "This is part of our house."
I like that scene too. That was pretty classic.
Kay gives him that little noisy.
What am I gonna do with this? And it turns out
I feel like I could break this damn thing. And he goes, boom, and he brings him back and
got a huge kickback on that gun. Yeah, that's a classic part of the movie.
Which is kind of funny because Kay's got this big, huge gun and it doesn't do that much damage. It's like, I wonder if Kay knew, like, he knew it was going to be that much power and he's wanted him to get that kickback or something.
So since we're about that 2/3 of the way, we'll go with the rating. You're going first this time since I did the last one. This is our rating for Men in Black, best out of 5.
I mean, it's got the black suit. It's got two guys that get along pretty well. I feel like. I'm gonna go a little higher on this one too. I'm gonna go like 4.8.
4.8. Nice. I like that assessment. I got the right mindset, but I want to kind of review my own ratings for a second. I'm pretty stingy with my ratings, honestly. I got them kind of spread out. My highest rating so far is The Mask and Ace Ventura, and those are bias ratings. 4.5 has been my highest rating. The Men in Black. This is.
It's not as funny as like Ace Ventura.
No, but it's. I mean, just based off enjoyability, I really enjoyed this film. I want to stack it above, but then again, I don't really want to.
That's why it's hard to rate other movies, and then you get to this point. It's like,
yeah, exactly. Like,
did I
enjoy it more than these other films, or am I just kind of like? Yeah.
I feel like there is a little bit more action than Men in Black, though. So, and it's still kind of funnier in a way.
There definitely.
It's not as funny as like Ace Ventura.
Yeah, there are some funny moments in it.
Funny moments.
Yeah, it's got those.
And I feel like it's got more of adventure than like Ace Ventura.
And the dialogue is really good. I like
or even The Mask.
I liked everything about it. I'm gonna stick with 4.5. It's tied for my highest. I have a feeling that's kind of put me in a weird spot. I'm gonna have to probably readjust my ratings to split up those 4.5s. I can say I equally enjoyed it as much as those other 4.5s though. I should probably start getting like that. These films I did 4.5 is like, okay, I want to improve, but there's room to improve. I should stretch those up there a ways to like 4.6, 4.7, but it is what it is. 4.5 for Men in Black for me.
I mean, it's still pretty high.
That's pretty good film. I like the film. It's up there for me.
That's a wrap for that movie, anyways. Got one more movie.
One more movie to talk about. I'm kind of looking forward to this though. I do like 007.
I like 007
He's got the suits. We're doing the suits theme today. Arbitrarily we picked Goldeneye though. No real rhyme or reason why. There's so many other ones. You got Daniel Craig. You got Pierce Brosnan. You got.
Honestly, we did for a reason. The video game.
Yeah.
That was the main reason why we picked Goldeneye.
Absolutely.
And honestly, this movie
if you guys want to give me just a few seconds, I do want to set up a scene quick.
No, you can't. This is our podcast.
Okay.
We can do what we want.
Hopefully I can go to this here and do some work while this is going on. I watched this film this last week.
When the world is the target.
72 hours ago, a secret weapon system was detonated over Severnaya.
And the threat is real.
Goldeneye exists. A radiation surge that destroys everything with an electronic circuit.
You can still depend on one man.
I want you to find Goldeneye.
3.
Find who took it, 2, and stop it.
1. And I remember the scenes from flashback to the game.
Name's Bond.
Obviously, the game didn't hold up.
James
well,
Bond.
The world's most famous secret agent is back.
We aim to please.
And this time, 007 is facing the ultimate enemy. The man who knows him best.
Hello, James. It's an unpleasant surprise.
006.
What's the matter? No pithy comeback?
He was your friend, and now he's your enemy, and you will kill him.
Is the satellite in range? Target is London.
Now, the entire world is about to be caught in the crossfire.
See you in hell, James.
You first.
Kill him.
The pleasure will be all mine.
Did you check her out?
Head to toe.
3 clicks, arms the fuse. Don't say it.
The writing's on the wall?
Grow up, 007.
I think you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur, a relic of the Cold War.
No, James. I was always better.
Both of you, stop it! You like boys with toys. Trick is to quit while you're still ahead.
I wouldn't think of it.
Charming, sophisticated secret agent. Shaken but not disturbed.
Get us out of here!
Bond. Only Bond. Man just won't take a hint.
I need the gun.
That depends on your definition of safe sex.
On November 17th, United Artists brings you,
Trust me.
James Bond.
Why can't you just be a good boy and die? That's one trick I've never learned.
You don't really realize how bad pixelated those.
The thing that's different about a Verbo vacation home, you always have the whole place to yourself. Just you and your people.
Free advertising. Thank you very much. We'll switch her back over here.
Maybe we can get some money for showing those real advertisements.
All right, I'll let you introduce the plot a little bit. I'm gonna do some research.
So in this movie, James Bond is played by Pierce Brosnan. Him and his friend at the beginning of the movie are trying to blow up a Russian base. Well, it's the USSR or whatever at the time. His friend gets captured. James ends up putting up the bombs, and then his friend gets shot, and so he thinks his friend's dead. And so he leaves, and then the whole base blows up, and then you don't see his friend for, at least, spoiler alert, not until the end of towards the end of the movie. A lot happens between that time. James Bond's getting re-evaluated because his good friend just died.
Yep.
Ends up sleeping with the girl.
Yeah. They don't. Did they portray that his friend dying in the film, or it's just part of the dialogue? If I remember, it was just the dialogue of him talking about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they basically portrayed like he died.
Yep.
So like, there was. I don't think they really they couldn't find a body because it was an explosion. So they just took it as he was dead.
Oh yeah. And
so then he's getting evaluated because his friend just died, and then he ends up sleeping with the girl that he was getting evaluated from. So he ends up. I'm guessing passing his that test he had to take. He ends up there's players later on in the movie where they're taking over Goldeneye. It's a system, like a satellite system.
Yep.
And they're trying to take over. The Russians are at this time they think the Russians are trying to take it over, when it's really not. It's his friend. Spoiler alert again. It's his friend that supposedly died in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. Yep.
And so he later on finds us out, and he's like, yeah, it looks like you've seen a ghost there, Bond.
Yeah. I like that part.
I did like that part too, where you didn't think that, you never saw that coming.
Yeah.
Like at first you think it's that Russian general or whatever.
Yeah.
You think like, because they made it sound like he was like a good guy, but you see him doing these bad things.
He's kind of the bad guy in the film.
And he's more of a bad guy, but you think he's like the head guy, and he's really not. He's just a pawn in another scheme of this.
So at the beginning they have this, the protagonist is this female that Bond plays in poker. He ends up losing a hand, winning a hand, and they kind of interact a little bit. But he's got this little spy camera that he figures out. All right, this is
the main girl I have to follow.
Yeah, and she's really in it to just steal some top secret helicopter or some shit. So she's like sleeping with this high up general in Monaco of all places, which I've actually been to Monaco. It's a cool place. I wouldn't say go there every day, but kind of a cool place to be. Going further, they end up stealing the helicopter. One downgrade I would give this film is the sex scenes. Like, that girl, she plays a terrible scene. It's so unbelievably unrealistic. Like, what the hell is she doing to suffocate that dude?
She's wrapping her legs around
his waist.
Or something, yeah.
And then he's just dead.
Somehow he's suffocated.
And they portray it like, yeah, this is the greatest sex ever. And then she's just like, oh, no, oh, no.
Or maybe there was poison.
That was such a, maybe. I don't know. Maybe she's got like some stiletto on and she like stabs him with some poison or something. I don't know. That scene.
Like you say, those
scenes are so. Those are some bad scenes because James Bond, the Pierce Brosnan, gets himself in the same kind of situation with her, but he kind of fights his way out of it in a way they portray.
Well, I just didn't. Guy too.
I don't know what her name is. I
forget what she's called.
I didn't like her acting. It was a little too over the top, in my opinion. But maybe that's what they were going for. It was just a little over the top.
I don't know if that's what they were going for, but that's what they got. Yeah, I feel like she was a semi-decent villain, but like it was like an evil version of James Bond.
Yes.
Where she has sex with people so she gets what she wants.
Yep.
And then, but she kills them instead of letting them live.
Yeah, and just throughout the film, she's always there. She's always just like, that's another like weird trope you have to kind of work with in these films. Is like everybody just gets away. There's so many times in this film where James Bond gets away, the bad guys get away. You know, Boris at the end, like, okay, yeah, he's in on it, but he gets away. Like, everybody just gets away, and they have a dramatic death scene at certain points of the film. The girl has a dramatic death scene. The guy has a dramatic death scene. There's so many different things. Even the part where he gets... I like this part of the film where was he a Russian... some kind of insider to the whole entire thing, but he gets shot in the head. Remember that part? They're on the train, and he ends up getting shot in the head, but he's like... All right, God, what? Anyway, he has kind of a dramatic, not as dramatic as the other one, but it's kind of dramatic. You know, he plays a lot in the film. It's hard for me to separate him, but
yeah, so I don't remember that part.
And then the EMP, the weapon. I have some gripes with that. It was such a cheesy part of the film.
Which
the EMP, the electromagnetic pulse, the Goldeneye itself, the actual damage that it caused. I get it. Maybe you got a satellite that kind of, I'm nitpicking, I'll admit, I'm kind of nitpicking, but the Goldeneye shoots down, and then it's like a nuclear explosion. Everything, like every electronic blows up. Like, come on, I didn't like that part.
I mean, you can get the right frequency, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I find it highly unrealistic. But that added to the film. They needed to portray some kind of destruction, and that added the suspense to the film.
I feel like Goldeneye should have been like a laser beam. That would have made more sense.
But they did portray it kind of like a laser beam.
But you know what I'm saying? Like an actual laser beam.
Yeah, fire the laser.
Yeah, like an actual laser beam. Because like you think an eye, you think, your pupil.
Yep.
And the laser comes out of the pupil, that would have made more sense to me than high frequency blowing up.
Absolutely. I'm just going to do this quick. I'm putting in an outro quick, so you guys will enjoy this little... Maybe you won't. I don't know. I think I'll enjoy it. I'll enjoy making it. How about that? All right, some more about the film. They grossed $350 million. So, I don't know the budget again, but I imagine this film was. No, it did pretty well. I just don't know what the beginning budget they worked with. So it grossed over $350
I'm sure it was
million.
At least 3 times as much. Probably.
But here's the thing. This is 2 years before Men in Black. The CGI was atrocious in this film compared to Men in Black.
compare.
They did like
maybe that's what they had back then too.
I think you look at Men in Black though. They probably had a higher budget for Men in Black, but the CGI, like when the Goldeneye was actually shot and the electronics were getting disrupted, it was like 2-dimensional cartoon overlay. There was no 3-dimensional. It was like, here's an electronic, and it was like a little lightning bolt over across it. You know what I mean? And it was like cartoony in a way. I was like, come on, you guys could do better than this. But I have nothing else to really compare it to. It is what it is.
I feel like all James Bond movies are kind of like that, though.
The new ones, though, they did a good job with their CGI. They didn't really have super advanced weaponry, though.
But I think that's what they were going back then, though.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
Because you gotta think, they might be betraying from more back in the day.
This weapon is bigger than life too, so it's bigger than any budget that they like. Okay, realistically, they're gonna shoot a satellite into the sky and start filming it from different angles and actually see something shooting down to Earth. They had to do what they had to do. But I think if they had Men in Black's budget with Goldeneye, they could have done a hell of a lot better. But maybe they weren't really banking like Goldeneye was gonna do all that great, even though it did really well. 1995, grossing 350
mil. Look at all the other all the 007s before. I honestly didn't really like this movie.
No, you spoiled it for me, but I kind of had somewhat of the same assessment. There were some points that I did like.
Oh, yeah.
There were some points that I would take away and be like, yeah, if I were shooting a film, I might shoot that angle. I might shoot that in that way. But it had the typical...
there was no story to it.
It was hard. It was kind of hard to follow, and they were all over the place. Yeah. Like one minute they're in Russia on the freaking helicopter, and oh shit.
Oh yeah, at one point
they're gonna shoot a missile and it's gonna heat seek back around. Let's put this button so he can hit it with his head. This is great. Eject. Oh, it's a top secret weapon. Oh yeah, right. I'm tied up. Here, just use your head. Eject. Come on. Oh, we survived, yeah. Good thing they had an eject button right where you could hit it with your head. Come on, man. Come on. Oh, yeah. I overall, though, I have to say, I stuck with it. I enjoyed it. Overall, I'll give my assessment regardless, but overall, it wasn't just a bust for me. I still had, like, enjoyability to it.
There wasn't as much for me.
Yeah, sadly.
Okay,
what is a scene that you recall that you remember from the film that you really like?
For this, you mean?
Yeah, for Goldeneye.
There's really no real parts that I really liked in this movie. I gotta be honest.
That's sad.
But
have you?
The only part I really enjoyed was when I found out it was his friend that was, the bad guy this whole entire time, that comes out of nowhere. You just don't really see that coming.
Yeah.
But other than that, I feel like this movie was kind of all over the place.
That is your typical trope. I don't like how he is. Like, it's the typical thing that they did in a lot of different movies, I remember. If I recall, like, a handful of other movies. Oh, the long-lost friend, the long-lost buddy, the long-lost this, the long-lost that. He's dead. No, wait, he's back. He's alive, and he's the bad guy. Like, oh, man, you guys did the movie no justice in that, but you got to stir up something, and that's how they stirred it up. It is what it is. I will say that.
But they never gave him a code name. Like, he was never 006 or 5. It was just Alex, I think his name was.
Yeah, I think it was 006 at one point. Yeah, I think he was 006 because he was 007.
Yeah, I know he's 007.
But still, the negatives, I hate to give negatives. I want to just stick with positives, but there was too many negatives in this for me. As far as enjoyability.
I feel like
I will still say, the game was better. Yeah, and maybe I just had so much hope for the film from playing the game.
Yeah, that could be true.
Like, I had so much high expectations for the film that
if anybody knows me,
it just couldn't meet it.
Well, anybody really knows me, my favorite character is Jaws, and he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
He ends up being a good guy, but, I don't know. That was the first movie I ever really remember watching.
Yeah.
Was with, I don't remember what movie it was at the time. I think it was like Moonraker, though. But
yeah, and some old school 007. And for me, like, watching this film, Amazon just came out with the legacy films. So all 007s are on Amazon. If you have Amazon Prime, you can watch them all. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have watched this film, honestly. I don't have it. I don't know where I could get it for cheap, like streaming it. Other than that, you know, I probably wouldn't have watched it. But I'm glad that they stuck it out there. It's probably a homage to Sean Connery, with him dying relatively recently. Maybe they're trying to drum up some more business from his death in a way.
I don't think so. I think it's more because they're leading towards more of they're trying to bring out another 007.
More buzz to the new 007.
New 007s, yeah.
Is Daniel Craig in this new one? Or has he finally moved on?
Yeah,
so
he's moved on.
I will say I like the Daniel Craig 007s the best. They're the newest, so it kind of makes sense for me.
I didn't really like the first one. And the only one I really remember is Casino Royale.
Yeah, and I like Casino Royale.
And I think that was the second one. The second one he did, I think. Don't quote me on that.
I remember Adele in Skyfall. Like, that's what rings to me in Skyfall. I don't remember Skyfall the film. I have a blank as far as the plot and everything in it. But I do remember watching it. Casino Royale, on the other way, had Chris Cornell as the...
Who's Chris Cornell?
Oh,
I'm bad with actors.
No, he's not an actor. He plays the music.
Okay.
If I start singing some songs, you're going to know who he is. Soundgarden. I'm gonna break my rusty cage and run. It was in San Andreas. It was a soundtrack. Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't know if I can. Like, obviously this is copyrighted. Maybe I should just play some freaking Chris Cornell. But he plays Casino Royale's theme song.
Let's not get too far off.
All right, we're way off track. Let's start talking shit about Goldeneye. I could have done a little better.
I'm sure we're
Let's go. I just want to see where we're at for time. We are... Nope, this is an update. Let me refresh. We're noobs at this. Leave us alone. We're trying to figure this out. So, we're sitting at an hour and 2 minutes so far.
So about 60 minutes. Yeah, we're about that time.
So... Let's get on with the ratings so then we can go into more of the Rotten Tomatoes, see where we're at as far as other critics, and are we worth a damn in critiquing this film?
I feel like we're not. This one, we might not be, because it's a 007.
Yep.
So I'm sure
it's got a lot of
people
buzz.
are
a lot of people are going to like it. I have the same assessment. We're going to rate this probably a little lower than what fans and critics of past rated it at.
Yeah.
I went first last time, so you're first this time.
I went first last time. You went first time, then I went, then...
Right, yep, you're right. I'm first.
So you technically should be first.
3.9. That's what I'm giving it, 3.9. I enjoyed it. It's crank material for me.
I was actually thinking about that same range, like 3.8.
Is that your official final answer?
Yeah.
3.8?
I'll go 3.8.
3.8. So, on a percentage scale, we're looking just under 80%. So, we're like 70... I'm 78, you're 76.
Somewhere around there.
I bet that's probably in upper 80s, lower 90s.
I'm sure it's like 80s or 90s.
But let's start from the beginning.
Blues Brothers.
And we did not look at any ratings before this, so this is all new to us. This is fresh off the cuff.
I mean, it's kind of nice to see what, you know.
Yeah, I like to see our ratings without any kind of bias or anything. Obviously, this one's going to be, for you, probably not as high.
Bias.
So my percentage
I feel like Blues Brothers is going to still be pretty
yeah, I think so too, because it's 1980s, a really good film for that era. I would say I should probably stack mine a little higher, just given that
buzz back then.
I got to give it more of a handicap for being as old as it is.
Yeah.
1980s, it did probably pretty well for that time period.
Well, you have
there really isn't much special effects in the film either, besides the glow around John Belushi.
Well, and they do explosions in it.
And there are explosions, but those are real explosions. From what I don't know. Who knows? If it's CGI, it's really good CGI.
No,
so they got to be. It's got to be real.
I don't think it's CGI. It's got to be real. If you actually get to watch it, it's real. Cause like it's fire and everything.
All right, Blues Brothers. 73% on the tomato meter.
But it's 92%.
Yeah, 92% audience score. So 73 the critics.
So I went a little higher.
You want to so if you compare it to you're 98%.
Yeah.
So you gave it a 98%. Audience score though, I think
it's still pretty high.
That's pretty in line. My score is higher than the tomato meter as well, but lower than the audience score. It is what it is.
Well, I'm higher than both.
Yeah, obviously your bias took that above and beyond. So that's that one. Men in Black. What is your comparison to?
I feel
what
like
do you think the audience is going to
I
give
really
this?
think this is going to be pretty high too. I feel like it might get both high. Like maybe 80s.
Like you thinking your score is going to be?
I feel like mine's going to be pretty.
Oh my God! So that's I've tainted my eyes with this.
That's the.
Yeah, this is number 2, number 3, and the newest one.
That's the newest one. Yeah.
So, wow. Critics gave it a 92%. I think that's. I'm 90, so I'm just underneath the tomato score.
Yeah, I'm above.
And you're above by quite a bit. You're a 96, so you're. Well, no, I wouldn't say a lot, but.
Yeah.
Audience score though gives it way lower. Like.
That is kind of weird.
That is strange to me. I would have expected a little more
higher.
reception into the audience to bump that up a little bit.
Will Smith. Got Tommy Lee
Maybe
Jones.
there's a lot of spite votes to say, this is just whatever. I don't like it.
It could be an older crowd too.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, you're talking all genre, like all demographics of people voting on this.
Well, yeah,
Kids,
I remember.
It's
yeah, I remember back then there was more conspiracy theories. And back then, the Men in Black weren't looked at as alien investigators. They were more like mysterious people.
Well, what did you have before? So, brainstorming, you had X-Files.
Yeah.
That was more of a TV series, but that had paranormal stuff in it. What other paranormal or extraterrestrial stuff were in films back then?
Well, you had like UFO sightings, and a lot of people did see like if you ever look at documentaries, they see a lot of Men in Black, but they see it like even during like Kennedy's assassination, they see it during like some UFO. They see Men in Black in a variety of different situations. So, but I feel like they play this off a little cartoony in a way.
I like how
more seriousness, you know.
Yeah, I like how they did it though. I mean,
no, I know.
Even this scene
no,
here,
I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, this is an older crowd. They think Men in Black is more serious, where this is like more cartoony in a way. You know. What I'm saying?
Okay.
Like,
So the people that were destined to like this film maybe didn't like it enough because of the way they portrayed it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I could see that. Like you're really looking forward to the trailer and it being about aliens, but the aliens are just like normal creatures in the Men in Black universe. It's not the obscure, like Area 51, Roswell type alien stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like the conspiratorial side of it. I can kind of take that assessment and run with that. I think that might have added to the audience score being a little lower.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I think that older crowd, they saw the assassination of JFK, they saw the Roswell crash, and they see Men in Black and they think, oh, these guys are serious.
Yeah.
And then when they watch this show, they're like, I just lost credibility to Men in Black.
Yeah.
I'm sure, something like that. I'm sure it's something around there.
Without further ado, Goldeneye. What do you think the Rotten Tomatoes score Goldeneye is?
I feel like they're going to go high.
Yeah.
And then maybe the audience might still go low.
So 3.8 and 3.9, that's 78 and 76%.
I feel like it's going to be...
Let's do it.
I feel like the critics might be higher, but the audience will be about 70.
80%. Dude, we're just below that. Audience scores 83. I would have expected that a little higher.
I would.
I don't know. You know,
I would honestly thought the
maybe this
critics
is
would have been higher.
Yeah.
Because you always got the same 007.
We are just below. Like we did pretty good on assessing that. Just in that regard. Like
we were a little low.
Maybe the audience. Yeah. Let's look at some of the critiques.
I mean,
this guy gave it a tomato. With a dynamite opening reel that showcases the series' renewed vigor, Goldeneye is 2 hours of well-executed thrills, high-tech mayhem, and one-of-a-kind comedy. Some regard, I could agree with that, but I have to say,
I don't really agree.
No,
I agree with the beginning when his friend gets exploded, and then like that scene was probably the whole movie. I mean, honestly, you gotta agree with that.
Yeah.
Like that made the whole movie, and then after that, it was just kind of like downhill.
For me, the downhill slide was when the Goldeneye was shot off, and the freaking bunker was just getting blown up for no reason. Like an EMP is just starting to blow up like electronics. Like, come on. And then the ceilings are falling down. These things. And then, it's dramatic. Oh, it's going to kill it. No, it stopped. Okay, what, all right. Enough of this. Let's get on with some plot here, guys.
I feel like it kind of degraded as soon as they met when he first goes and gets that girl. That was okay. And it was like towards later on when she's like trying to steal the helicopter and kills that guy.
Yeah.
Like
those were some cheesy scenes.
Just like
how cheesy was it? You guys right into the story. Okay, how about she's just at the part where she's just waiting for the pilots to come up, and then she's like, "Hey, let's steal your uniforms and take the helicopter." Come on, like that. That was a downward slide for me too. I just didn't like that either. But it's still got an 80%.
I mean,
I honestly, here's my assessment of the 80%. Yeah. It's a James Bond film. It's a 007. It has the legacy. The legacy brought it to 80%.
I like how they portrayed her as like a sex symbol, kind of like James Bond is.
Yeah.
But I felt like they did go a little too far.
Yeah.
Where she's like wearing lingerie. No one's gonna show up in lingerie.
That's what I didn't like about it either. It was over the top.
Yeah.
Everything, even from Pierce Brosnan to her scenes to all that. 007's always kind of. I don't really mind that. That is 007. He's a womanizer. He's the ladies' man. He's portrayed that way. This one just went a little over the top. And even the part where he was supposed to be a ladies' man, it didn't sting for me. It didn't like give me that he's a ladies' man vibe. But the female the protagonist female, she was over the top with her like sex appeal or whatever you want to call it. The raunchiness of her was just over the top. Oh man, yeah. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
That's about all I could give it.
It was it was a female version of James Bond, but way over the top.
Yeah, definitely over the top.
Like I feel like they could have did more of a James Bond feel and toned it down a lot more, and still get that sex appeal like James Bond kind of.
Yeah.
But with female version.
Yep.
And not be like over the top wearing a lot. Like no one's gonna go to a fucking base with wearing like just lingerie and a jacket.
There's just a bunch of dudes here. I could just trick them all. Here, let's wear some lingerie. Oh, by the way, guys, pow pow. Thanks for the uniforms. Come on.
Get a little more creative, guys.
Yeah.
I at least like the part where she got in bed with the guy. At least they tried something. I mean, it was a bad try.
No, that was an over like.
Well, I know, but at least it was like, at least they like had more of like. It's a James Bond where he gets laid in bed and then like.
Yeah.
I feel like the part where she kills him was way over the top. Like, there's no way that guy's dying from her choking him from
unless she poisoned him, that dude had like what, maybe 50 pounds on her, more than that. Like, come on, you think her legs are just gonna choke this guy out?
I don't care how strong.
Super unrealistic and kind of a cheesy.
Unless she had mechanical legs.
Yeah. She's got like some Aeon flux going on or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, so that's it. That's it for our episode 5. Let me do some buzz quickly here. I'm gonna do this quick. So we're gonna go back to the. Okay, wait a second. Do this. So we got that, and this is gonna be our outro. Do you want to point the camera towards the green screen? Maybe a little bit to the left. Shoot. Let me go back to this here. Where did I save this at?
It might be saved as a different... Like now as a JPEG, it might be saved as a ping or something.
So I'll put it in episode folder. That's what I put in. So let's go back up top. Boom.
Try,
it's not there.
Try opening as
all here we go. We gotta do. That's all formats, so.
Oh,
it's not there.
Oh. Yeah, it should pop up then.
Let's go back to this. Shrink her down. Sorry, you guys are gonna enjoy this. Well, let's be honest, nobody's watching right now. Okay, I must not be able to load up this into... Oh, there it is.
That's
Booyah.
kind of weird that I didn't do that.
Okay.
Oh, one too hard.
Am I there?
Yeah. There you go. I just need the red blood coming down.
Alright, one more for the outro.
Dun, 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 dun. That like played perfectly with that.
So long, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time.
It's been extra.